is Bahamians. If you were to fall or get injured, you're going to find that it would take quite a while, unless it be miraculous, because I had a miraculous experience. I did mention it on air some time ago. And this is when God gives you favor. It doesn't happen that way all the time, so let me make that clear. And unfortunately, some people get in accidents and they either make a fall or trip, as I made a trip right here on Shirley Street and Collins Avenue, and hit my forehead, bang, right on that hard concrete pavement. But God was good to me, and I didn't have any serious injuries at any time. So it's good to be alive and well. And there's a lot of work to be done in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And Bahamians, you have a role to play. And some of you may not fully understand what it is you ought to be doing. My special guest should be here shortly, Brother Hyler. He has some things he wants to discuss with you relating to labor, and also the fact that we have said, we may put the announcement out about those persons who are independent candidates, persons who are members of political parties. You can now come to Global. And of course, you have to pay for the time. We'll give you the time that you would request, and we'll let you know what the cost will be. But you call in right here to the radio station, 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. It's always good not to wait too late, Bahamians. Many of you in the last election waited too late. And the other fellas had to jump on you, and you got drowned in the Atlantic Ocean. That's what happened to you. You know the Atlantic Ocean right there off Andros. They won't get swallowed up like that again. But if the people don't hear from you, they don't know you, they don't hear your message, and all you can do is complain about what that other fella's doing, that ain't working. Learn from past experience. The people want to see some changes, real, genuine changes. They want solutions to their problems. And all of you who want political office and desire political office, nothing wrong with wanting to be a representative in the House of Assembly. But are you able to deal with the constituents in your particular constituency and give them good quality service? Or you just want to sit there as a member of a particular political party and just simply go along with the crowd, because too many are that way right now. You don't even hear from them. And some terrible things are happening in those constituencies. Look what's happening in Pinewood Gardens. They got the flooding and they got murder. Come on, Bahamians. And it would appear, I guess the police has to do their investigations. I don't want to preempt the police. It would appear as if there may be some other retaliatory actions by persons who believe they have a right to do just that. And Bahamians, that only complicates the problems in the country when people behave that way. Now, anytime when the court makes a ruling, the court will either make a ruling either for you or against you, or the case may be just dismissed. But then we have to respect the ruling of the court. You mightn't agree with it. Not everything is going to go in your favor. The court could be dead wrong. You know that? The judge, the magistrate can make a ruling that is contrary to law. So what do you do about that? There's a mechanism in place to deal with that. And I think you need to know and understand how this thing works. This is why you see I have to even get into statute law, because as long as those statute laws don't violate the Constitution, that's you're clear. But when it does, that's a whole horse of a different color. And Bahamians, we need peace and tranquility in this country, because around the world, I was just listening to what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. The peace talks come to an end, but they are still at war, Bahamian. People are still dying. People have died in Ukraine. While they say they were having peace talks, they were killing one another. So what does that tell you about human nature, about carnal nature? The fellas say they're sitting around the table talking peace, and each of them firing guns at one another, slaughtering innocent people. See, what happens in war? Innocent people die. The fellas who are in charge of the military and who got this ammunition and all this other power they got, unless God killed them, that's a different kettle of fish. But innocent people die. You see it all the time on the TV. Or you hear it on the radio. And Bahamian, so many things are happening around the world today. It is hard pressed to keep up with what's going on. But one has to keep doing it. When I come here to do a show every day, Monday to Friday, I do not know whether something would have happened just prior to me coming into the studio until I get here. Then they say, Professor, this is what went down. And sometimes you find you got to scrap every single thing that you would have prepared for. So when I come to do a live radio show, I'm prepared for anything that may have happened. Because sometimes you got to move quickly. Everything that you had thought you would like to cover, you just got to put it on the side and then deal with what is at hand. You never know on a given day what may happen. See how the weather was over these past 2 days? A lot of rain, Bahamians, and we are just in the hurricane season. And there are some people who are being negatively infected by the rain because of where they live. Some areas are being flooded out, and some other areas are getting flooded as well. People in Yamakro. And when that happens, Bahamians, the foundations of those buildings get weak. In fact, they said about the storms, water damage is the most part of the storm. People get drowned in the water. And so Bahamians, we have to, why it ain't the wind? The man tells me it's the water. I just learned that 1 or 2 days ago. That's what the man said. He's a meteorologist, so he should know. I ain't gonna argue with him. But I know one thing. When that ground gets so saturated, the whole trees start falling down, get rooted right up out of the ground as if somebody had a big hand and rip it out of the ground, bang, down on somebody's house. And people could get seriously injured, or the house may be so damaged that it has to be repaired, and they ain't got the money to do it. They're struggling just trying to put food on the table. We're being fined money to go fix any house. The best thing you can do now, Bahamians, is to ask God to preserve you and protect you. Now, he could do that for you. Yes, we should listen to the meteorologists, and they keep telling us, you know, the coordinates that they give in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas are for the Bahamian people. So you to listen to the meteorologists who are here in the Bahamas. They'll give you accurate and precise information. But you listen to them other fellas. They're talking about conditions as they may see it from their perspective where they are. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Some of you get so attuned to what some other people say, you forget that we got a meteorological office right here. We got highly qualified people. Basil Dane is one of them. And there's another one. I can't remember his name right offhand, but Basil's name came to mind. Highly qualified people. But there's one that wrote a book. Some books. He's also highly qualified. So we have Bahamians who could help us and teach us. That's what you need to understand, Bahamians. Now we have some budding people who are coming up, and they want a chance. They want to have a part in building the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The aim is we need to give them a chance. I was reading in the Bible about Joseph's brethren when he told them they would bow down to him, not to worship him now. And they got vexed with him. Think you could rule over us? You can have authority over us? You can have dominion over us? Yes, he did have dominion over them, but not at that point. They could not see, for their hatred. The scriptures say they hated them all the more. They hatred. I hope I didn't say another word. Hated. They hated him so much they decided to kill him. And then Reuben jumped in and said, no, don't mess with that. Let's put him in this pit right here. Because he was thinking, I need to carry him back to daddy. That's what he intended to do. When he came back later to go in the pit, child wasn't there. And the Bible says he rent his clothes. That means he didn't give it to somebody to wear, meaning he tore his clothes. So when you see that in the Bible like that, say rent his clothes. He didn't have somebody like you rent a house or you rent one car or whatever. No, he tore it, ripped it off himself. And Bahamians, we can avoid a lot of things that are happening around the world if we do two things. One, listen to what God says in the Holy Bible. That's one. Number two, follow the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Are you straight? Now, I said you can have a lot of people wanting to become representatives in the House of Assembly, and I said yesterday, we are open right now. Independent candidates, yes. You can come on the show for a fee. We're not giving you that for free because we have to make money as well. You get your sponsors, you get your supporters. You want to show a program to the people, well, fine. They're prepared to accommodate you. In the studio, out of the studio. In the community, out of the community. Any way you want to set it up, we are here to do just that, to get your message out to the people. And my advice is to start now, today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late for you. Because there are some, if you don't move now, you're going to get drowned in the Atlantic Ocean. Plenty of you got drowned in the last election because you waited you were too slow. Let me just say this, from the last election to now. The Bahamian people are very inquiring now. And I'm getting hardcore evidence of that. The Bahamian people want change. They want to see things better on the ground in their constituency. That's a wonderful thing. I like that. That's right of what I told them last July the 8th. And I'm going to be pushing them in that direction. You want to solve these problems in your local constituency? Fine, no problem. I'm 100% on board with you. But it has to be done together. You hear me always quote Article 24.1? Article 24.1 in your Constitution. The last phrase of that article, extremely important. And tens of thousands of you have missed it over the last 52 years. Maybe guess like that. And I'm delighted to see that a lot of you are beginning to take your constitutional rights, privileges, and freedoms seriously, because there are some people in the world that ain't got none. People are dying today to just exercise one constitutional right that we have. We got plenty. I can tell you one right now what you people are not using. The Constitution says very clearly, freedom. Now, one hopes disagreed with me on this, but that didn't matter. I said, that's what the book tells me. Freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. You got all these ideas and opinions you got. The Constitution say they have to be right or they're wrong, but these are ideas and opinions that you have. You may have possible solutions, but the people don't hear it. And what you expect? You don't say it to them. What you expect? You keep your mouth pinned up. What do you expect? And the country just goes in a deep dive. When if only you had that wonderful opportunity, you who want to run and be representatives, fine. You can work with that. We need quality people in the House of Assembly, you know. We need reliable, dependable, responsible, honest, righteous people in the House of Assembly and in the Senate too now. Don't forget that. And all these other positions, they got appointed position, ambassador this and high commissioner that and whatever else they got in there. And I notice where the government is opening up new offices in foreign nations in Africa and other places. And they're sending people out there, say they're representing the Bahamas. But I'm disappointed when the Minister of Foreign Affairs told the Bahamian people that he can't protect them with them people in the United States. If you run into problems with them over there, the man doesn't tell you he can't help you. You hear any crap like that? Wherever a Bahamian is in the world and he runs into challenges or difficulties while he's out there, his government ought to stand with him and support him and pull him through. And if they can't do that, you know just what to do. Get rid of them. I was highly offended over those remarks. That's not the purpose of a government. Come on, Bahamians. Man talking this kind of crap. You may not know what it is they are looking for, Bahamians, because they didn't tell you. So how the heck are you supposed to know if no one informed you? Then they got you locked up over there. You can't get home. I know an incident that happened with someone who's related to me, but that individual was released right away. Did you hear what I tell you? Not wait for an hour or 2 hours. Right away, the man mark up his passport. Bang! They turn it right back around and put him in on the plane. Bang! You ready to go. New passport, everything. Bang! I don't want talking no foolishness in my ears. The government of the Bahamas has a duty to protect the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas wherever they are, whatever nation they're in. Now, I'm not saying that they must go out there and make trouble. I'm not talking about that. Because plenty of these funny things that they set up, you don't know what the heck it is. You run into a barbed wire, you ain't see the barbed wire. Then it trip you right over and you fall on your face. But then the man say he can't help you. You any crap like that? That's the kind of foreign affairs minister you want. Whereas, when it suits them, that fella in trouble, he's my buddy, he's my cousin, he's this, he's that, bing, right on the spot. It's rectified. And he's back on the plane, back to the Bahamas, wherever he's supposed to go, straight. I don't want talking no foolishness in my ears. Bahamians, that is why you have to be careful of the people you send to do your national affairs. They talk foolishness. You're going to hear a lot of crap in this upcoming election. So I'm going to say to those people again, all those who thought that Professor didn't want people to come on his show or political personality, that's not true. We had a big meeting on that. That all settled now. All you need to do is come. Ain't nothing to stop it. And I don't want to hear no more things on Facebook that people talking about Professor don't want this one to come, that one. No. That ain't so. That never was so. You tell him to come. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I try
told
to
me
get
to call
these people
early.
straight.
I'm calling early. I hope I didn't interrupt your flow because I understand the monologue process.
No, you go ahead. I'll listen to you.
Okay. Professor, you said just a lot of things we would tell you, sir, that the Bahamas is a dictatorship.
The Commonwealth of the Bahamas?
Yes, sir.
When it became a
not according to
dictatorship.
not according to the Constitution.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then now when you see people acting like that, that's bordering on treason.
Treason.
And there's a penalty for treason.
Yes,
I want
sir.
the Bayman people to understand
So we got to
that.
pray for that penalty, huh?
Well, it comes in different ways, you know. You see, sometimes you have people who are in
But
authority.
sir, the penalty for treason is death.
Well, that's what the man tells me.
Yes, sir.
That don't change.
Okay. So, but when God bring these harm on these people, you all see on Facebook, oh, rest in peace, condolences. No, not condolences.
That's people talking foolishness and nonsense. So they don't understand the retribution of God.
Exactly. And that's what I despise, man.
Yeah.
These people, they claim to be God's worshiping people, and we get these. The guy used the word imbeciles. I don't know that name.
Imbecile, yeah.
Yeah,
wicked people.
Yes, sir. And they come, and next people are still contemplating putting them back in.
That's being stupid. We're going to talk about that today.
Okay, Mr. And I don't want to keep you up because I know Mr. Highland, Mr. Singmo.
No, but Highland right here, I tell him I'll talk till Christ come back, but he don't listen to me.
Nice to hear him in there. But I forget what I call you because you always tell me to call early.
No, you should call early.
But
Are you still there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't mess with my phone, man. I'll go down and up. But I'm still here screaming over here.
Yeah, okay.
Let me tell you something, man. I would hope you would have a gentleman called the Prophet. He's a person. He's like a Rasta man type individual. Man, you got to call him in. He is calling the clarion call right now because we are doomed if we don't move on this election. Not even this election. We should get Mr. Davis out of the way as we speak.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And it's becoming so close to our Bahamian demise.
Yes.
And God bless Haiti. But God, please let the Haitians go back to Haiti and fix that place.
Yeah, they need to fix it, yes.
You can't come here and lean on us and mess us up the way you mess up your own country.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
so please dispel that myth. Bahamians don't love Haitians. We have done 50% more of ourselves.
That's right.
Than what anywhere in the world has done for you.
That's correct.
That we are walking into a danger zone of causing this place to be removed from Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Amen.
Okay? To whatever they worship over there. That caused them their demise. Okay, maybe that's what I call you to say.
I'm glad you did because someone already told me last week? Yeah. About bringing some spiritual guidance to the show, which I tried to do to get someone on tomorrow.
Oh, Hopefully, but Professor, before I go, I got to tell you this real quick. God's will be demonstrated Labor Day.
Yes, sir.
He always saying to move through the workers. I don't know. I'm sorry, Professor, for cutting you off just now, but I had to tell you that. And we will see God's work. God is the Bahamas is for Bahamians.
Yes, it is.
And no one else. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Let me add to it that you're going to be hearing some information from some very highly intelligent, educated, well-meaning, world-renowned figures in this country, you know. See, God has raised them up. He said he'll raise up a few. Some of them, they got some other things wrong with them. Renowned personalities. You cannot say anything against those persons, people of impeccable character. I'm not saying they're perfect now, but they just give it to you straight as it is, like that caller did. We can't be beating around the bush. We have too many issues, too many problems. And I'm saying to those people out there who want to be representatives, come now and let the people hear what you have to say. Right on this radio station. Don't wait in the dark because you can get drowned out. The people are dying for solutions to their problems. Yeah, but I tell you that? It is more real now to me than ever before because some new information has come to my attention. I always seem to be the last one to get the full brunt of it. Many others see it before I do, but that's fine. But now that I know, I'm going to move full steam ahead. Brother Hylo, welcome to Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM.
Good day, Professor. Good day, Bahamas. Trust you all are doing well out there. This rain come right in time to break up some of the heat, Professor.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But we have a lot of issues.
Too many
that are going on.
Yes.
And Professor, I'm looking at today's headline in the newspaper, and it says this is concerning the unfortunate incident in the Family Island where a son allegedly killed his father. The headline in this Bahamas of ours says the son says, "I killed and cut up my father." That's the statement.
I heard it on the news also, on the radio. Those exact words what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah, this is very...
Now, I understand from the radio reports that I got, and I heard it more than once, that the one who's 23, I think they have him in custody at the corrections.
Yes, he appeared in court yesterday.
Yes,
because that's where he would have made that statement.
The two of them appeared. Yeah,
and the younger brother,
I think he's 16.
Yeah, said he feared for his life.
But if I understand the report, what was out, and anyone out there who has additional information can correct me.
Yeah,
I think they gave him $9,000 bail. That's what reported. I don't know how they arrived at that. But I believe this individual was released into the custody of his mother or persons down there in Akron. And he used to be on 24-hour curfew, and I don't think they could handle that. There's no way they can handle that. These 16-year-old boys, they don't listen to no mothers. They don't listen to no fathers. When things like that happen, the state has to do better than what it is doing. The court has to do better than that. Where's the protection of the community?
Speaking on that, as we go to break, Professor, when you ask where's the protection of the community, a shootout right next to a primary school.
Okay.
37 bullets, if I'm not mistaken. And if you're talking about a heavy weapon, could you imagine the sound of 37 shots in close proximity?
Yes.
I have friends that have children in that school. And I witnessed yesterday, in closing as we go to the break, this is 1 block away from the Cleveland Aeneas Primary School.
Okay.
I had to hear my friend's young daughter say, I don't want to go to school. We were scared. Teacher told us to get down and get under the desk. That's in the Bahamas as we go to break.
Thank you, Brother Hyler. But we have some other things we're going to add to that today. Bahamians, we have some very serious problems. You see why the people want answers, solutions to problems? You people who want a political office. That's why I tell you need to move now. Don't wait. No time to be waiting. It's time for solutions today. June the 3rd, I think it is, 2025. This is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
one answer from you. If our leaders, which are the MPs, the cabinet members, the prime minister, if they,
Yeah, go ahead, caller. Caller, you there?
if they, sorry, something happened. If they desecrate or disobeyed our Constitution,
Yes.
should they be considered honorable anymore?
That's an excellent question.
Thank you. That's all I
I can
have.
let Brother Hyla handle that for me today. I have a comment on it too, but I'll let him speak to it. Brother Hyla, go ahead, please.
Yes.
You can speak to that if you want to start off with some other things you have in mind.
Yes, I can speak to that. It is an important question.
It is very
and
important.
In my view, everybody would have their own opinion, their own views. In my view, it is not honorable for persons seeking high office, public office, parliamentary representation to go to parliament, and whether acting as a member of parliament or cabinet minister, some are both, to now violate the Bahamas Constitution. Even if you hold a high office such as prime minister, all included, whether you hold the office of a senator, it is not honorable to serve this nation while at the same time violating the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's my answer. It is not honorable.
I agree with that 100%. I'm going to comment on that further. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon. I interrupting the wrong time. That's what I interrupting the wrong time.
That's why I asked Tyler to answer the question.
Okay, must say good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon to your guests, and good afternoon, Bahamas.
Good day.
Now, you guys finish. You guys, when I come off, you guys do that question again. But listen, I call in to say but our Constitution, you cannot. Man, I hear that question, I missed my thought, but I got to bring it back together. Listen here, you cannot overdo this country, but else you get the people to disrespect the Constitution. Because all our things in it, don't matter what it is, and just what we got to work on. We got to work back, bring back the senator back to real people. Listen, my boy, he was going to court, he ain't there yet, eh?
No, he won't be here. He's
Thursday.
Well, Thursday, yeah. Thursday's open line.
Professor, you know what we got to do? We got to do a sneak like them freeways, and we got to sneak into it. We got to bring the senator back. We got to bring real senator. Not picking because you picking the people who you like.
Yes.
And they watering down the system. I know the thing was so strong, man. Everything every law you make, the Senate guy look at it. And there was lawyer. First thing they tell you, man, listen, send that back, man. That didn't make no sense. Man, you just see the foolishness. Professor, you got to get someone to get solid people, solid lawyers, not crazy people. Lawyers who know the law, who know the Constitution. And Professor, you know what, I can end on this. Since they build a new building, man, I see it, and when I see the British was doing the thing, they got someone right there next to the speaker just protecting the Queen rights. Yes. We need someone sitting right next to the speaker just to protect the Constitution. But I can end with that one. My boy, I can hear that question now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll repeat the question.
Yeah, repeat the question for him.
The last caller.
Yes, he asked a very interesting question.
He asked the question, is it honorable for members of parliament to violate, or if they violate the Constitution, should they still be considered? Should they still be called honorable? So, Professor, you want to state your view? Because I can say the other side of what it is. It's the opposite of honorable. It is dishonorable.
Yes.
It is a breach of trust.
Yes.
It is a violation of the highest order, because you're talking about national service and the lives of an entire nation of people. Put their trust, they basically put their trust in you.
Well, of course they do.
To protect us.
Yes.
To guard our sovereign status.
Right. Yes.
and to lead us into prosperity.
Yes.
This is what the hope of this nation is all about. We are marching on to glory,
Yes.
and
Your bright banners waving high.
and things don't feel too bright right now.
No, they're not.
We're not getting many reports week after week, month after month. And it has much to do with the direction that the country is being led in.
Yes, that is
It
correct.
has much to do with leadership, not business activities around, because there are many persons prospering. Let me leave it there for now because we have another call.
Yeah, we have another call on
Yes.
the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor Thompson, Dr. Allen,
Hey,
you're
good
telling
day.
us for football grandmama. How you
Yes,
doing, y'all?
Hey, good
Yeah,
day,
we're doing
Kendall.
well.
Good
Thank
day.
you.
Okay, well, Professor Thompson, I'm glad you're there. I'm glad Dr. Haller there because this is for both of y'all. My constitution rights have been the friend zone in Freeport Grandmama, which has been for a long time because I'm choosing Professor Thompson and Dr. Haller. So I'm getting attacked all day, every day. It's not unusual. But Dr. Haller,
Yes, sir.
you from Freeport Grandmama, right?
Well, I'm not born
But
there.
anyway, I beg to see you, so I guess we gonna never see each other. Everything cool. You got your agenda. But what I'm saying, what's going on, me and Freeport Grandmama, I have a child from our next personality for a radio station in Freeport Grandmama. You understand?
Okay.
Professor Thompson, you
Hold
understand?
on, caller. Hold on. What did you just say? You had a what?
I have a little daughter from a personality on a radio station in Freeport Grandmama.
Okay, Kendall.
Yes.
I know once or twice at least you were looking forward to the professor to call you back, and maybe because that call was not made, I'm sitting here with the professor right now, taking this position because it's not only you involved. You're talking about another person involved. It would only be fair if in the same setting, that person is able to speak for themselves.
Well,
You see what I mean?
I'm trying with Dr. Harlow. Well, you look like you from here and you're familiar. Well, I'm here seeking my daughter. She come after me when I had money.
Okay.
I had a lot of money before I come to Freeport.
Okay.
And she from Nassau, just like me.
Okay.
And she followed me here. So now that I'm broke, the baby getting hidden, and I'm getting hidden.
Okay.
So I want to see my child because she done bring my child. That means she done say this is my child. But in reality, the world can't know because I ain't got no money.
Okay, we understand. We understand the case.
So this morning, the personality who she worked for told me I'm gonna start making noise on the government road. Now I see all kind of police following me and looking at me and following me, and the personality who the child for, she following me too and riding all around, but yet they don't want me to take care of my child.
Okay.
Boy,
If
the
Kendall,
police them, Professor Thompson,
yes, sir.
the police them is involved with this. You got some of them living on here where she living, her family living, and they involved with this.
Okay.
Girls is give police sex over here just to lock up somebody.
okay,
Okay. All right.
Professor?
Well, I think we have Kendall's number, right?
Professor Thompson, I
Multiple
need your help
times.
on this, Dr. Hyler,
Yeah.
because this woman on the radio station punishing me, punishing my baby, and trying to get me hurt with the police. Who
Okay.
she sexing, or who she know, or who she paying.
All right. Okay. We're going to have to shut it right here. And we want to thank you for your contribution. We'll have to deal with that off air.
Yes.
But we have persons like that, and I would apologize for not having gotten back to him. But it's a very serious matter that he's talking about. And we have persons not only in Grand Bahama, but also in New Providence that go through the same thing.
Yeah.
He's willing to express what is happening to him, and that's fine. That's all well and good. But people want to get into all of the particular details on air. We only will allow so much, and then we have to shut it down because that's not the purpose of the show. Yes, him
To understand.
what is going on, and we will see what we can do to assist him, because obviously he has some real challenges, and this is what I've been trying to get people to understand. I've always quoted Article 24(1) of your Constitution. Some issues to be resolved in this country can be resolved by one or two or a couple of people. That could be done, but there are some issues where it takes the involvement of an entire community to change some things in this country. And I think people need to understand. See that flooding in Pinewood Gardens? The lady keep talking about her particular situation, and she's not the only one who was affected by it, 32 years. The point is, it takes the collective will of a people. It is very difficult to solve a community problem, a constituency problem, when you got the overwhelming majority of those persons. You may not get all at the beginning, but you have to get the interest which is strong so you can break it behaviors. You got to stop it. You got to crush it. And that's what people need to understand. It is not going to be done just by one or two people, or one to say, okay, Professor, I can leave that with you. You handle it. No. It doesn't go that way. There's some things I can do. Yes, there's some things, but a high level may be able to do. But Bahamians, it has to be more than that. You heard what the gentleman just said? It's a very serious matter. And things can escalate to a point where, anyhow, let me just stop right there, where it gets out of control. Go ahead, Brother Isla.
You know, Professor, most of us, I believe, are experiencing things that we consider unfair to our life.
Yes.
So even though we may not be able to relate exactly to a particular situation,
Yes.
how many of us cannot relate to being unfairly treated?
Yes.
Whether in the workplace, whether in our family,
Yes.
whether it's in some business endeavor we're trying to do.
Of course.
In the community, we have
Yes.
persons very concerned about police activity, the very police that are there to serve and protect.
To do what?
Well, they're there,
Serve and who?
they're there to serve and protect.
Well, where's my protection then?
Professor, you're not protected. In Fort Wayne Castle, you're not protected.
Not by this police.
Professor,
You can't. Let me tell you something. You see that station right there on East Street?
you talking about right down the road from you?
Yes, right down the road from me. You couldn't get them to do a lick. I'm talking about protection. What kind of protection?
Professor, if you're not protected in the Bahamas,
There is
We
no
all in
support
trouble.
from Central Police Station. We know that. And the commissioner need to do something about it.
now,
They might as
Professor,
well shut it down.
Professor, I could tell you when I see a lot of police in Fort Wayne Castle,
When?
when they close down the water tower and have their private events.
Well, let's put it this way. That water tower situation has a whole horse of a different color. Because the government of the Bahamas came in there and didn't consult with the people of Fort Wayne Castle. I'm one of the leading members of that community. And they did nothing. I heard one person from the Antiquities Monuments talking about stakeholders. Are we stakeholders in Fort Wayne Castle? You see, all you have to do is watch the crap what they're doing. And I know Central Police Station does nothing for Fort Wayne Castle. Absolutely nothing. They're weightless. And the commissioner needs to go and fix that.
Those are some strong words, Professor.
No, but that's the way it is. And I could say it loud on air because I know it to be so. Now, when we want assistance, we got to go elsewhere. And thank God for that. But the point is, Central Police Station, they need to shut it down.
So, Professor, based on what you're saying then, and I'm looking at it like, could that be a reason why some people feel like they want to take the law? I mean, I'm not condoning it, but is that a reason why some people feel like they want to take the law into their own hands?
Look what happened in Vinewood.
It appears to be retaliation.
It appears to be retaliation. We let the police go investigate that. How long it will take them, that's their problem. But the point is, I can say with conviction, Central Police Station is weightless.
Wow.
They are no use to the people of Fort Wayne Castle. Absolutely no use whatsoever. You call them, you couldn't get them to do a single thing to help you. We got senior citizens in there. They call Central, you can't get no help. What's the point of having them there? They have to go elsewhere. And I'm delighted to have police officers who I have contact with who say, Professor, you have any problems, you call me, we will deal with it for you. That's positive. But not that crew at Central Police Station.
Wow.
So I can understand what
Yeah.
Kendall is going through because I'm experiencing it from those personalities right there.
So,
Central Police
so
Station.
Professor, they have a division in our police. I believe it's the Special Investigations Bureau.
Yes.
So this is a very serious matter because where my mind went right now, matters like these should come up for review.
Of course.
They should come up for review, and a report should be presented. The findings should be represented. That's public courtesy if you serve in the public. And what I'm thinking about, the Special Investigations Bureau, I'm very concerned that our Minister of National Security is on the record, on video, before he came into this position that he's in right now. He stated that the police force cannot investigate itself.
Yes, he did.
Mr. Wayne Monroe said the police cannot investigate themselves.
Yes.
That's what he said before he came into the seat of power.
Okay. Has it changed now?
Now
They
that
can
the
investigate
shoe,
themselves?
well, now that the shoe is on the other foot, he is saying he don't see why they cannot investigate themselves.
He's talking foolishness. That's utter rubbish.
How could
You
you have
got the same-
two opposite views?
Well, that's how conflicted they are. So I can understand what Kendall is talking about. You see, this is the kind of crap we've allowed to accumulate for so long, and we have not done anything about it. As citizens of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, that's police get away with a lot of
What's
foolishness.
wrong with a review by Interpol out of London? What's wrong with a review from the National Crime Agency of London, Great Britain, basically, in
Yes.
general?
Yes.
Professor, I know we're repeating this again, but we really need to get this deep in our psyche, as you would put it.
Yes.
Our Commissioner of Police, former Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernando, stated to the public that we were going to have outside investigation coming from the National Crime Agency of Great Britain.
Yes. What happened to it?
What kind of country we live in and nobody raised the question? Where the media houses, where the opposition was, where Mr. Pintard was. These aspirant candidates who all around the Bahamas right now, they trying to get a seat. They playing musical chairs, trying to get a seat in Parliament.
Yes.
Instead they go fight for the people. Everybody, the mouth closed and pin up like you say.
Yes.
You mean one of those candidates couldn't say, well, where is the investigation?
Yes. That's a good question.
We also heard that later we're going to have American counterparts in law enforcement,
Yes, we heard
which
that
would
too.
mean either CIA or FBI or the Secret Service.
But they have to be very specific. See, the problem that I have with the government of the Bahamas, the man tell me,
Mhm.
the foreign affairs minister who just talk foolishness, say they are prepared to give information to the public. Well, I'm going to test that to the breaking point.
No, that's not, I see why you call that foolishness.
Well, I know the stupidity that comes out of the mouths of these people, man.
Well, Professor,
That is going
yeah.
to be tested to the breaking point, and then I will report to the Bahamian people right on this radio station. Because, see, you don't tell me anything and expect me to just roll over and go along with it, because I will not go along with it.
Professor,
I know what the Constitution of this country gives me authority. In fact, I tell people plainly, I'm not even using 10% of my constitutional authority. Did you hear what I tell you? I'm still under 5%. They wouldn't want to see me if I get up to 20%. Because some things in this country are very wicked and very evil, and it has to change payments. But by us sitting back and doing nothing about it, while we do that, good men and good women sit back and do nothing. Evil persists. Because scripture says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, we are not moving sufficiently enough to stop it. So evil persists. Evil men and women persist over and over and over and over again.
You
That's why
talking among our leaders?
I'm talking about what's happening in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Okay.
I talk about no other country.
Okay.
I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Professor, I want to ask your opinion on this. You live in a neighborhood, right? You live in a neighborhood. You're two neighbors. Neighbor one has only enough space for one car, but he buys 5 or 6, and he parks it in the front of your car, your gateway. And when you tell him about it, if he parks 5 or 6 cars, he brings another one there to jail you and tell you, you call the wrecker for my car now. But he only has enough space for one car in the front of his yard. But he will fill up in the front of your yard and jeering you to call the wrecker.
Yeah.
You have a valid point, ma'am.
That's sad.
I cannot disagree with that.
Yeah, that's sad. It's not neighborly. And where my mind goes, and I mean, you can tell us more if you choose to, but it seems like a neighborhood, more of a community association is needed in a situation like that.
Yeah, but what I think it is, you see the person as a low fence and you do to them what you want to do, and they can't do anything about it because you're so much of a bully. You only have enough for one car. Why would you buy 5 or 6?
Okay, caller, hold on. Stay on the line. Don't go nowhere. The point is you got all kinds of neighborhood communities or association, whatever they call themselves. You see what's happening in Pinewood? Do you see any change in Pinewood? Do you see any real, genuine change in these communities where they got the neighborhood thing? I think in Fort Castle they have one also.
An association, okay.
Okay, and that's fine. I'm not knocking that. But it has to take decisive action against wickedness.
Yeah.
The people themselves, and I tell the people in trying to solve an issue, you have to have 51% or more of the people in that particular community, that particular constituency, that particular neighborhood to become righteous in their dealings one with another. You heard what the woman said? The man got 5 cars, 6 cars.
And park across
your place now.
Yeah.
What kind of crap is that? And then he got space for one.
The wrecker for it.
Yeah. And dare you to call the wrecker.
And dare you to call the wrecker. See, that is where...
They're street smart. They know if you call the wrecker, they can make a report to say that the car was stolen or they had so much this in it and so much that in it. Then it becomes a legal issue.
Yes, it would. Yeah,
them against you, although they were wrong for doing it.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
So what they're lobbying on to jail you to the point where you go and do something stupid. But like I say, there are more ways to skin a cat than that. What you do, you deal with them for the court.
No, I agree with you on that point.
Okay.
There's a way to deal with it. Okay? And sometimes the courts move very slowly.
Yeah. But we still encourage people to be rational.
But here is what scripture says. The court got to do something about this. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed what? Speedily. That's what God says.
The men's hearts become full of evil.
It is set in the hearts of men to continue to do evil. Does the court understand that? Well, then they need to shake up the judiciary. You cannot expect people to be law-abiding when you yourself is not executing justice speedily. What the heck do they expect? This is Professor Sidney McArthur Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Caller, you still there? Gone. Okay, all right. No. Yes, you have rights and freedoms and privileges as a citizen. But when you go to the authorities and you say to them, here is the problem, deal with this problem, the authorities have to be willing to deal with it. Otherwise, you're going to have retaliation. And when you have retaliation, that leads to more problems. Because everybody's setting up court. And that causes lawlessness in your land. There's no fear in the hearts of wicked people because they're allowed to continue to do evil. You know, law-abiding people suffer a lot in this country, you know. And you never get compensated for the damages that are done against you. That's another thing you need to look at. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to the court. The lady said you should go to the court. We got one big case right now in court. And we hope justice will be executed speedily. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We're trying to stay on point. We have so many things that are coming at us all at one time. We're supposed to be talking about labor issues And we're saying to those potential candidates who are interested in representing the people of this country, you've got to deal with labor issues, but you have to let the people know where you stand. What is it you propose to do in that particular constituency that you are interested in? And the only way the people are going to know is you have to tell them, Bahamians. You have to inform them by way of radio. And that's why we have Global here today, to cause you and encourage you to do that. I think we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor, good afternoon to you and your guests.
Yes, sir.
I gonna say something kind of controversial, but I honestly believe it's true. And I gonna say that I honestly believe that Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe will go down in history as one of the worst Minister of National Security in history of the Bahamas. And here's why I say that. Is it safe to say that Wayne Monroe is one of the best defense lawyers in the Bahamas? It's safe to say that.
Safe. It's safe based on his
No,
reputation.
but let
Based
me
on his
get,
record.
I'll call a stop right there a moment, please. It has nothing to do. See,
Because it's two different things. You're talking
no,
about his personal.
But hold on. Let me make this point, man, because people always talk this kind of crap. The point is the man is in a position of responsibility as the Minister for National Security.
The point I'm trying to make
But
is
hold
that-
on, caller. I don't give 5 cents of how he was when he was representing this one, that one, the next. That means nothing to me. What he does in that office is what I am concerned about. And that's what the Bahamian people ought to be concerned with. I don't care what school he went to. I'm not interested in that. What are you doing? Caller, please listen, okay? What are you doing with the authority that has been vested in you by the Bahamian people? That is what we ought to concern ourselves with. Go ahead, caller.
The reason why I said that statement, Mr. Monroe knows all the loopholes in the system to get criminals get them out on bail.
I figured that's where you were coming from. His performance in one area.
Yes, he knows the loophole in the system to get these criminals all on bail. He knows what to do to get them off these cases. He knows the loophole in the system. Why isn't Monroe, in his capacity as Minister of National Security, helping close these loopholes? I could almost say that most of the murders happening in Nassau is retaliation murders.
Okay.
So if you know these things, what are you doing to prevent this? What are you doing to keep these people in jail? What are you doing to get these people in front of the court in a speedy fashion? What are you doing to get to bring these people to court so that these people could stop being killed by vigilante justice?
Okay.
That's the point I'm trying. That's why.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point. If I misunderstood you, I apologize. That's a valid point.
I wasn't trying to defame him. I wasn't trying to discredit him. I wasn't trying to talk about his personal life. I said that because he knows the system. He knows in his professional career, he knows what he does to get these people out on bail.
Okay.
Why are you not trying to close that?
Okay, that's valid. That's valid. I don't have a problem with that.
Let's look at the bail act. What have this administration done to adjust or amend or to enforce the bail act?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? The witness protection program. Was any money thrown at the witness protection program in this budget? You see what I'm saying? So what is this administration doing? What have they done? And what are they going to do? According to the budget, absolutely nothing to prevent further killings.
Okay.
So to me, it seems like you're trying to protect your interests so when you come back out on the road, that you could continue doing what you was doing as a defense force lawyer. You have done absolutely nothing to help the Bahamian people in your capacity as Minister of National Security.
Okay, Carl, I see where you're going now. I understand you clearly. And I misunderstood you. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'll hang up and continue to listen.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but
it's a strong point.
No, but he has
It's
what
a
he
strong
said is
point.
very valid. Okay, I might have misunderstood him at the beginning, so I apologize to him. But the point is, this is why I try to get the Bahamian people to understand. You're putting people in authority who may not fit what is essential and necessary to bring the kind of changes that are essential to move the country forward. Now, he asked some valid questions. Okay? So what's the point of having him there? What's the point of paying all this money out to this man?
Definitely.
And he, like he himself said, he knows all the loopholes and this and that and the next thing. What is he doing in the office of Minister of National Security? To shut them all down so it doesn't happen. Do we see that happening in this country? Or he's just preparing himself now when he go back into private practice, he can continue the same crap he was doing before. Because he gave some twisted statements. When he was on that side, he was saying the police couldn't investigate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now on this side, he's saying another piece of crap about they are capable of investigating themselves. Give me a break, man.
Mm-hmm.
These are the terrible inconsistencies that the Bahamian people do not zero in on. You see why I asked the question about constituencies? What major constituency problems have been solved by the representative? He's a representative in one of the constituencies. You have to ask yourself these questions. What has he done as a representative? What has he done as Minister of National Security? So I think the caller was quite right, and I agree with everything that the caller said. He asked pertinent questions, and Bahamians need to do that. We need some righteous people in this place, man. Not people who dress up in coat and tie and think they know everything and just become a discredit to the nation. The nation's interest is not being served. Go ahead, Brother Highland.
No, Professor, my thought on that is, if a person has a career and is considered very experienced in a particular area, such as law, such as security, the Bahamian people, I believe, because we don't have enough information on the exact plan. When I say exact plan, it's one thing to be a lawyer, but what is your mindset? What is your mindset towards the development of the Bahamas?
We'll see his mindset by his behavior. You couldn't get it better.
But we only see the behavior afterwards, though.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
You see how good they sound ahead of time?
No, I understand all of that.
You see that? Oh, the police can't investigate themselves.
No, they can't. But the point is, that is why it is important that the constituents do serious investigations themselves on these particular personalities.
Professor, how do you investigate if somebody say A and do B? How do you investigate that?
The point is this, Hyla.
If they are duplicitous, if they are going against their own word.
Scripture tells you by their fruits you will know them.
What does the scripture tell you to do when a hopeful prime minister, before he becomes prime minister, signs an agreement and make promises to you?
We have seen evidence of that before. This ain't nothing new. We got the prime minister right there signing things on a Sunday in his office. He had no discussion with me. He had none with you. He had none with the people of this country. But he's signing up all kind of funny things. When the Electricity Act says he's supposed to have discussion, widespread discussion. But he's doing all kinds, they call it PPA now, whatever that's supposed to mean. But that is something that's happening. Didn't he tell us when the ink will dry on the paper, he's supposed to reveal some things? Has he done that yet? This is why we need to go back and check these things and see the character of people by their actions, by their behavior. Listen to words, what they say, watch what they do.
Speaking of that, Professor, same principle you're speaking about in labor, because we're about to listen to this clip.
Yeah, but yeah.
And right now, it's so, it's a serious matter, but I had to laugh, Professor.
We're going to play two clips, one after the other. We comment on the first one, then the second one.
Right. So here it is. The first one we're going to listen to. We have the labor parade coming up.
Yes.
So there are posters that have been produced by the Progressive Liberal Party.
Yes.
And these posters had Miss Belinda Wilson on the poster.
Uh-huh.
And basically,
Were there any other names of any other leaders on the poster? Or just her name?
well, not name, not name, her likeness, her image, her
Image,
picture.
a picture, yeah. Okay.
So here's a
any
PL
other any other images of other leaders of other unions?
Not from what I could see. Not from
Okay,
what I
all
could
right.
see.
Fair enough.
So I'm
Okay.
seeing a poster,
Yes.
and the producer's queuing up right here. We queuing it up.
Okay.
There was a poster that came out for the June 6th Sir Randall Fox Labor Day Parade, and it's the Progressive Liberal Party,
Yes.
and it has Belinda Wilson's picture, big and bold, up at the top.
Okay.
And she put out a statement yesterday related to that poster that the PLP would have put out.
Yes.
So we'll listen to it now.
Okay.
Good evening. It is Monday, June the 2nd, 2025. This is Belinda Wilson, President of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress and the Bahamas Union of Teachers. I see a PLP flyer advertising the Labor Day on Friday, June the 6th, 2025, that has my picture on it. So I am publicly stating that I gave no one permission to use my photo. I am asking the PLP, because it's advertising the Prime Minister, etc. So Prime Minister Davis, I am sending this directly to your phone. Can you have my picture, Belinda Wilson picture, removed from your flyer, sir? To use my image and likeness on anything that you are sending out. So this is Belinda Wilson, President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, President of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress. I have no affiliation. They have no permission to use my picture on a PLP flyer advertising whatever it is they're advertising for Friday, because Friday is Labor Day for the workers. And I will be there to lead the BNATUC and the BUT, not the PLP. So I'm asking you all to please remove my image off of your flyer.
Okay. One question I want to ask before I comment further. This particular flyer has her image on it.
Yes, sir.
Now, are there any other images of other labor leaders on that flyer?
No, sir, not from what I can see.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Now,
She's starring big and bold at the top of the flyer.
at the top of the flyer. Okay. Well, something is wrong with that. That's why I wanted to get that clear in my head before I go further.
Well, Professor,
Yeah.
I can update you on this. The PLP has produced, or maybe they always had it, there is another flyer that does not have Miss Belinda Wilson at the top of it. This is what the flyer says. It says Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Edward Davis at the very top of it. Then it has the PLP logo there.
Yes.
And then it says 2025 Annual Labor Day March,
Okay.
supporting labor all the way.
And they don't have a picture of the Prime Minister?
At the bottom.
Wait a minute now. Belinda Wilson at the top
Yes, sir.
and his picture at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
What kind of crap is that?
Professor,
I got to get a copy of that.
Professor, I had asked you the question last week, Friday. If you think Sir Randall Fox would have accepted T-shirts and flyers and trinkets from a political party while he was standing as leader of the labor union.
No. That's not Sir Randall's character.
See, But this mixing up situation, right? I mean, I didn't dwell on this. It's more important, believe it or not. I'm actually thinking is more important things to talk
No,
about.
but see, this is in connection
Yeah,
with the labor
right.
rally. The
See, now-
woman is saying,
Yeah.
Mrs. Belinda Wilson, let
Yeah.
me give her props.
Mhm.
Mrs. Belinda Wilson is saying she is for labor.
Right.
And now the PLP has a photograph right at the top,
Politicizing.
politicizing her
Yeah.
and perhaps her association
Right.
or union, umbrella, union, and the BUT. And then the prime minister's picture is at the bottom.
That's the way it is.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, you're blurring the lines now. You're making it seem like she's either supportive, and like she stated in that, she's not affiliated with
Well, you're
PLP.
giving the wrong impression that this
Yeah.
woman is affiliated with the PLP.
Yeah.
She
Right.
did tell us plainly that she is in support of the labor
Right.
march,
Right. Now she represents, as we know,
the BUT,
the BUT,
and also the umbrella union.
and
She's
also the
president of
umbrella
that.
union, the
Yes.
BNATUC, the Bahamas National Alliance Trade
Trade Union
Union Congress.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Now, with that, people need to understand now, because we tend to associate her with the teachers, because for so many years
Right.
she's been, representing and supporting the teachers union, BUT.
Right. Mhm.
But the BNATUC includes the Airport, Airline, and Allied Workers Union, the Bahamas Financial Services Union,
Okay.
the Bahamas Hotel, Catering, and Allied Workers Union, the Bahamas Public Services Union, the Bahamas Taxi Cab Union, the Bahamas Union of Teachers, the Police Staff Association, and the Correctional Officers Staff Association.
Okay. Now, let me ask one other question.
Mhm.
Are these individuals of these individual unions under this particular umbrella,
Mhm.
are they coming out organized as representatives of those particular unions under the umbrella union?
That is what is expected.
That's
All
what
of
you
those
just said.
unions are
No.
participating.
Hold on a bit now.
Mhm.
Notice how you answered me.
Mhm.
That is what is expected.
Mhm.
Now, I have a problem with that, because see, the people in these different unions ought to be there to support their union.
Mhm.
They ought not to be fooling around with political personalities.
Right. Right.
This is a day for workers. This is a day
Right.
for labor,
Exactly.
as Belinda Wilson herself
Right.
said. So they have to have a responsibility to understand. And I don't know whether the labor leaders are putting that into the psyche of the workers.
Mhm.
Because I heard a man say they're going to have some crabs walking out there on Labor Day.
Mhm.
Plenty of them. So you have the PLP who will come out using their colors and whatever
Right.
and say the crabs going to be walking.
Mhm.
Aren't these individuals also members of unions? See, here's the problem we have in this country. And then we can go to the next state with Mrs. Wilson.
Mhm.
The problem we seem to have is this. People do not understand. See, I always use analogies in Barnabas Church and BTC. You members in Barnabas Church, and you also member the BTC, and they never get mixed up. They know when to go to church on Sunday. They know when to go to BTC on Monday. They've been doing it for years. And they put on their different paraphernalia when they go to work, and they put on their paraphernalia when they go to church. What's wrong with them now? What's wrong with us? How we get all mixed up when it comes to a labor march? You're supposed to be with your union.
Definitely.
So what they doing out there talking about? They doing the crab walk.
And they buying all kind of T-shirts and only God knows what else they are
Yes.
providing.
Well, I'm going to be
This
watching
this
that.
could be considered inducement,
Well, it is. That's not considered. That's exactly what it is.
solicitation.
Look at what they're doing. That's why I got to get a copy
And
of
they're
that flyer.
launching, the PLP is launching their
Yes,
campaign
their campaign
on
Labor Day. Are the union leaders understanding what's going on?
What is the state of labor in the country?
That's a good question.
What is the state of labor?
Now, this is what Mrs. Wilson and her team ought to be able to answer. Now, I am not going to disagree with her comments she made about the flyer. That's a byproduct. But the point is, we have to get some deeper things.
Mhm.
The state of the unions that comprise the umbrella union
Right,
and the state of the BUT, Farmers Union of Teachers.
right.
Are they going to be there in big numbers, representing their respective union under the umbrella union?
Mhm.
That is what Mrs. Belinda Wilson ought to be concerned about. Now, I could understand a concern about the flyer because
Right.
it sends a bad message that she
Right.
is supporting the PLP
Right.
in this rally. That's what it says.
See, for me, what things like this do is it muddies the water, and it sort of covers more important issues. Let me give you an example.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Miss Belinda Wilson raised an issue that the government has a new system it wants to roll out called Oracle. They like names of things what close to the Heavenly Father.
Oh,
Let
okay.
me put it that way.
Oracle.
You know, so they have a system called Oracle. Miss Wilson say we met with a consultant for Oracle, and they want to know how it's going to be implemented. They wanted to meet with the financial secretary to find out what exactly are we going to experience before you all roll out this program from Oracle. So you see what's going on? All this back and forth. Oh, we're gonna dance and sing together, or whatever the case is.
So this Oracle thing, they are not quite sure what that's all about.
They are not sure what it is about. Her quote is this. This is a quote. There are some things that we were able to resolve. Yes. There are others that were unresolved. Something that we also appreciate as a Congress is that some of the legislation that the government is looking at for the Industrial Relations Act
Yes.
and the Employment Act, we've been able to have our input into all of those. As recently as last week, there was a session with all of the union stakeholders, Wilson said. So that's a good report. Now, when it comes to the Oracle, this is where you get 90% of agreement. And there's this one matter that is outstanding, and you can't seem to get a clear resolve on that.
But no understanding on what this Oracle is supposed to be.
How it's supposed to roll out.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just saying
Yeah, I understand you.
that need to be discussed. Matters like that. Matters like Great Stirrup Key,
Okay.
Norman's Key, Norwegian Cruise Lines.
Yeah.
When you're having people fired and no reports, when you have the Director of Labor, Mr. Thompson, saying heads are going to roll.
What do you tell me now? He's investigating.
How long they're going to last?
If violations have already been committed and you said you were withdrawing work permits, that's not good enough. These people need to be punished for their wickedness. Canceling a work permit is not good enough.
That's a slap on the wrist.
That is nothing. The point is you've had some people working without work permits.
Professor, are Bahamians being fired when they speak up about the conditions in their workplace?
The man said in his first report there were violations of the law. We ain't hear nothing yet. What is the punishment for the violation of these laws?
All right.
And he said there were some allegations. Okay, they were the allegations. Now,
Okay,
what about the
okay.
violations of the law?
The actual findings, the actual violations that you
The man
Yeah.
said violations 1,
understood.
allegations 2.
That's a different
You
thing.
got to listen to what the man say. See,
Yeah.
that's what I always do. I
Yeah.
train my ears
Yeah.
to hear the crap
Yeah.
from these different people.
Yeah.
And then you got to ask yourself, what the heck is he talking about?
Mhm.
Anyhow, I think we got to go to a break. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Babies, we got some serious issues in this place, you know. We have to deal with them now. We need solutions. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have issues that we have to deal with, Bahamians, labor issues we're talking about specifically today. And those individuals who want high office to be representatives in the House of Assembly, those who want to be in the cabinet, Bahamians, we got to have people who are going to deal with these issues. So you've got to get your message out early. We are open here at Global Radio Station. We want you to come forth and bring your programs, whatever it is you want to say to the Bahamian people. We will take you in the studio. We'll take you outside the studio. You want to have a rally. You want to have a town meeting. Whatever it is, Bahamians, you who have a good mind, you got to let the people know. They ain't going to know nothing if you don't tell them. You keep quiet, we will be in worse state than we are right now. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
First time call, a long time listener.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good.
I just would like to make a comment and speak to Mr. Hyla because I think he said something interesting that caught my ear.
Your
And in
attention.
all of this Labor Day talk about the union and the politics of it,
Yes.
I was in the union in the hotel, and it surprised me. I haven't heard the voices of the Bahamas Hotel and Cattle Island Workers Union leadership
Are
spoke
they
out on
involved in
anything.
the march? Are they going to be marching?
And this is what I'm saying. All these labor's union leaders that get together, I haven't had see them come together conclusively
Oh,
and go to the government and establish a labor bill of rights where
Labor Bill
all
of Rights.
workers in this country will be protected under labor bill of rights and keep on pushing the issue till they see and achieve these things rather than just worrying. But when a contract is up, then they go
Okay.
back to go fight and saying, "Oh, but this contract up and this is what you said in the contract," rather than coming together and forcing the
Okay.
government on every year to expand upon the bill which all of the leaders will come together and enforce a labor bill of rights where these workers wouldn't be taken advantage of by foreign entities that come into the country because there will be a bill
Yes.
Labor
that
Bill
has the
of Rights.
protection of
Yes.
all workers in the country underneath the labor bill of rights produced by the union who
Yes.
have got the consensus of all the workers
Right.
and push these questions to the government to have these things go into parliament and pass as law.
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
that
you so for
sounds
listening.
good. That
Yes.
sounds
Very
He
good.
said
Very
this is
good.
first time
Thanks.
calling.
Yes. Thanks for
I
that
appreciate
contribution.
that contribution. That's a tremendous one. I hadn't thought of that. Labor Bill of Rights
And it goes right to the heart of the matter.
of the matter. Yes.
Professor, from the bottom of my soul, all of the trinkets of pom-poms and celebration and all that stuff,
That's not helping.
and our people on the family island working for luxury resorts,
Yes.
sleeping in tents with no medical care, working 60 hours a week and more against the law,
Yes.
sending letters to the labor department for months, no response, they said. Then we heard the voice of an English sounding woman. She sounded like an Englishman. I heard a voice came across a broadcast. We are being treated unfairly. And I'm like, you mean the European got to come here and say this a bunch of nonsense in this country? So other Bahamians could say, yes, she's right. Is that what it's going to take for us to wake up and say we shouldn't be treated this way? We're talking about food and beverage managers being fired by an international organization and no questioning going into that. A trip was planned, we heard, an urgent trip. Where's the urgent press statement? Come before the Bahamian people, all the media houses gather around the labor minister to say, this is what I found.
Okay.
Y'all taking this for a game out there. And this people life trying to bring up their children in a safe, prosperous environment. And the opposite is happening. Y'all opening the back door in the nighttime, people trying to sleep. I'm talking about the parliament now.
Yes.
The nation sleeping, and y'all opening the back door and let immigrants
All kind of
and
people
all
coming
kind of
in.
people coming in the
Coming in,
back
yeah.
door, the
Yeah.
window, the side windows, people
Yeah.
coming into this country.
Yes.
That is the equivalent.
Yes. You're
This
quite right.
household called the Bahamas.
Yes.
And you're worrying about colors? All of the colors doing the same thing. Professor, I took note of how harmonious and what a sweet fellowship of F&M and PLP is in our Senate and is in our parliament.
Yes.
Holding hands in sweet fellowship and handling the people money. And only their friends, family, and lovers in the circle could get straight.
That is correct.
reporting to the people that there are record amount of money coming in to their hands. That's the report, Professor. VAT alone
Oh, the VAT money, yes, you're right.
in the neighborhood of $1 billion. Just VAT alone, not the other fees and other taxes and other stuff.
Yeah.
9 to 10 million tourists. We're hearing about
That's
how
what
much,
we're hearing, yes.
you know, the people are pouring in. The money is pouring in, and tears pouring from the Bahamian people's eyes. That's what's happening in the Bahamas today. And as we educate the public, so we begin to understand the relationship between bad management and a bad quality of life at the constituency level, at the family level.
Yes.
Professor, the Freedom of Information Commissioner requested $1 million and received $140,000.
You can't be serious.
I think that's enough to pay the commissioner and the deputy commissioner. Bahamian people, let me say that again. The team that is supposed to be dealing with freedom of information or
Yes.
gathering the information that Mr. Davis and his colleagues are transacting. There's a team, the Freedom of Information team, is supposed to be monitoring the government on our behalf.
Yes.
The chairman of the PLP pushes back and says in a statement that Mr. Keith Thompson is the commissioner. I'm looking at the story here right now. Say they are of the chattering class, talking about the Organization for
I heard that
Responsible
about-
Government. You heard that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Bahamian
Yeah, I
people
heard that
understand
several
what I'm
times on
saying.
that.
And understand me, Bahamian people. There's an organization called the Organization for Responsible Governance, and they're
Yes.
trying to hold the government accountable.
But they're always in talks with the government.
And
So how
he-
far have they come?
well, here it is. They questioning why y'all only give $140,000
That's a good
to
question.
the team who's
Right.
supposed to be monitoring your activity.
Right. And the man had requested $1 million.
He requested $1 million
Yes.
out of these billions and billions.
Billions of
A
dollars.
billion is 1,000 million.
Yeah, that's right.
1,000 million.
Yeah.
And
Only
you
one
dealing
million.
with 3,000 or 4,000 million
Right.
and can't give one to monitor you
Right.
and to count the money.
Okay.
That's what it is. Commissioner Keith Thompson estimated $1 million. And Mr. Mitchell said, y'all are part of the chattering class who picking apart anything that the PLP government advances.
You see how he politicizes the government? See, that's the problem in this country.
Yeah, why he had to stick PLP in there?
No, but that's his nature. That's the nature of the Progressive Liberal Party. He's chairman of that party. This is why I keep saying when you hear the son of a gun say something, you don't know whether he's speaking as chairman, whether he's speaking as a private citizen, whether he's speaking as an MP, whether he's speaking as a minister of foreign affairs. You don't know.
Let me finish saying what he say. He say, while the freedom of information is important, ask yourself, what about fixing the roof and fixing healthcare
No, he's talking foolish.
and lifting the poor
Lifting what
through
for?
the social? We asking
They-
where the money is.
they-
Where y'all spending all the money? He say, man, we got to. Why you all
They
worrying
had-
about that?
They had 70 years since they've been in the House of Assembly and the Senate without a break. 70 years next year. They had every single opportunity under God's sun to do just what he's talking about.
So, Professor, in 2012, under Hubert Ingram, 2012, They passed a bill for freedom of information. Nothing happened.
Yes.
2017, under Perry Christie. Nothing happened.
Okay.
2017, under Hubert Minnis. Now, when I say nothing happened, there's no full implementation when I say nothing happened. These gentlemen went in our parliament, typed out a piece of paper, typed out freedom of information, and put their signature under it.
Yes.
No money, no plan, no team, just secrecy. We don't want y'all to know what we're doing with y'all money. That's the bottom line. The PLP pledged full, I'm reading from today's newspaper, the PLP pledged the full implementation of the act ahead of the 2021 election victory.
Okay.
But 4 years into its term, it seems unlikely to happen before the next general election. You see it there?
It won't
Professor?
happen. Yeah.
The promises come. They come into office and they leave office and leave everything the way they met it.
Yes.
The office of the prime minister is who this whole matter rests on the purview of the office of the prime minister. And in January 2024, Prime Minister Philip Davis said the Freedom of Information Act was not a priority of his government. Mr. Mitchell was reported to have said, and I quote, "The party opposes the Freedom of Information Act." This is in today's newspaper.
Yes. Okay, we got to get that.
Okay? Now, who's telling the truth? What is the truth?
That's very important information.
No, it is important that
Very
Mr.
important.
Mitchell is on record. The chairman, since they like to politicize everything, the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party said that the party, the Progressive Liberal Party, opposes the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
So which one appears to be more true? The statement of the prime minister or the statement of the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party? In this particular case, it appears like Mr. Mitchell appears to be telling the truth because their actions are lining up with someone who is opposing the Bahamian people having information on their business. I have a question, Professor. If you have a company or country, if you have a company and you hire a manager or prime minister, can your manager of your company tell you he don't want to get into the details of what he's doing with the money, Professor?
That's exactly what's happening now. Right in this country.
Which organization in the real world are you going to hire a manager of your business, a CEO, a general manager? And when it's time for quarterly review,
you don't have it.
You cannot get the information. He tells you when the ink is dry on the paper.
Right.
I will give you more information.
Yes.
Then we hear it later. We don't want to get into the details.
Yes, that's correct.
While the law says you have a duty to consult. Bahamian people, everyone
That's
under
correct.
the sound of my voice, our law.
Duty to consult.
When it comes to energy reform, which is driving the high cost of living,
Yes.
Professor, energy is crucial to our forward development
That
in
is
this
true.
country.
That's correct.
Grand Bahama is suffering because of unreliable electricity, high costs of electricity. Notwithstanding, they pay their fair share of taxes. Also in the newspaper today, it was reported in the Grand Bahama News. They feel left out. They're looking for a report on the airport, the Grand Bahama International Airport.
Okay.
The status of it. There's nothing in the budget. They don't see what's going on with the airport. They don't know what's going on with the hotel, the Grand Lucayan Hotel.
Okay.
So no information on the hotel, no information on the airport, how are we supposed to be hopeful over the future? And once again, with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, can they operate with their shareholders without disclosing, without allowing information about how they are spending the money? Of course not. And what comes to my mind right now, I find it extremely interesting. Our financial sector, Professor, when you put it by itself, do you know that we have a 40 out of 40, a 100% rating? Our financial sector, our bank, our insurance, between the central bank, the commercial banks. In other words, they have a very high score, 40 out of 40. That is impeccable. But what's the use having 40 out of 40 when you are one sector underneath a government that is performing at 38%, according to the IMF, when it comes to the handling of public? That's the Infrascope report, if anybody want to Google it. Infrascope report 2024 by the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. They're saying that our ranking is extremely poor and in the 38% range out of 100. So what's the use of being excellent in what you do and then you elect people who are the opposite of excellent?
Okay, I think we have a call on the line. My producer is saying, caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, go
good
ahead.
afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hey, good
sir.
day.
Yeah, I'm a first time caller.
Oh, that's good.
Hey,
Thank
good
you
Calling
day.
very
from Grand
much.
Bahama.
Good day to you.
You're calling from Grand Bahama?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay, good. Very good.
Excellent. Good day.
What's happening down there?
Yes. The point I would like to make concerning the political parties in the Bahamas
Okay.
is the fact that we, the voters, are really pawns in their game. Because when you look at the way they allow things to be brought forward, take for instance, when the PLP is in opposition, they would bring out all these facts pertaining to the FNM. But when they get in, the issue is dropped. So
Okay.
it's obvious they look at this like, when we get in, you got to give us a play. The FNM, when they are in opposition, they tear up the PLP. When they get in, everything is dropped. So
Okay.
it's obvious we are pawns in a political game. And when it comes to PLP and the FNM, it's like 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
Okay.
So if I could just deviate for a while, I would like to point something out that everybody seems to be missing. Now, this issue with the fire trucks, when you consider the position of these vehicles, they are considered specialty vehicles. A specialty vehicle is a vehicle that is refurbished after so many years. It is never put out to pasture. It has to always be refurbished every so often. Some is 7 years, some is 10 years. It's the same with the ambulances and the bucket trucks, stuff like that. All those type of vehicles are specialty vehicles. They never is put to pasture. So when you consider the way they're talking about getting new fire truck is all well and good, but you must refurbish what you have now sitting in the parking lot that is not working. And the sad part about specialty vehicles is if there's not a fire, you still have to run that vehicle. You got to carry it through the whole process, all the pumps and everything, even though you don't have a fire. So when you look at the vehicle might have been parked for one particular thing, after that sit there all that time, all kind of things is wrong with that now. Whatever that was parked for is a joke to what's wrong with that now. Because all kind of things are going wrong with that from the time that was parked. We got ambulances that was donated to the RAN sitting in the parking lot. There's something wrong with them, but they could be fixed.
Wow.
but they will say they need new ambulances. Those vehicles could be refurbished and brought back cheaper than the price of a new one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because all we have to do, like with the fire trucks, the only thing you have to do locally is service them. You make sure they got good tires, the engine, filters and stuff changed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the actual pumps and the ladder and all them other parts, with those gauges that have to be recalibrated and stuff like that, those vehicles could be sent back to the factory, refurbished, and come back in the service with just like a brand new vehicle. You don't put them out to pasture. There's too much money being wasted in this country over nonsense. And they buying things that even ain't worth buying. When you take for instance, look at the type of vehicles they would buy. You don't need luxury vehicles with floodlights, heated leather seats, sunroof, and all these features. You could just buy a regular sedan. Now, when you can give the fella what got one high position, if you want to give him one nice car, fine. But it still don't need to be these type of vehicles what have all these fancy features. They got vehicles what got features for cold climate, but it's just a race. And when you look at a luxury vehicle could be up to $10,000 more than a regular car.
Okay.
You got Ministry of Works buying these fancy trucks. A work truck supposed to have hubcap, not no fancy low profile tires, not no leather seat and carpet on the floor. A work truck supposed to have rubber on the floor because it's a work truck. They wasting too much money on luxury vehicles.
Well,
if those government vehicles which you see after hours and on the street on weekends was parked, they'll save millions of dollars in gas bill.
Okay.
And I wouldn't talk about maintenance because they just drive those cars until something go wrong. They don't keep no regular mileage on them.
Well,
There's too much nonsense going on in this country. They're wasting money on these vehicles.
So thank you for your contribution, Carl.
Please call again also.
Call
very
again.
strong contribution.
Yeah, very strong contribution.
Very strong
and he's from Grand Bahama. That's very good. We need to hear more calls like that.
Yeah.
I think we have another tape
clip
to play.
The clip, yeah.
Mr. Bruce, if you could put that in quickly for us.
Our affiliates, we will be present. Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress and our affiliates, we will be present on the parade. Labor Day is a day for workers. We are workers. So we will be there and we will again honor Sir Randall Fox, who has given his life to make sure that some of the benefits that we enjoy today, that we have. So we will be there live and in color.
But thank you, Brother Hyler.
We do have an update. We do have an update. Professor, I saw that poster with Miss Belinda Wilson's picture on it for the PLP, whatever it is they were advertising, but that has been removed. They have released the poster without Miss Belinda Wilson on it. It just has a group of persons. I don't know who it is, but they removed her picture from off of the official poster promoting the June 6th.
So what did they
parade.
put in its place? Did they put some other people in her place?
Some other people that I don't think you could really recognize. It's just a group shot. Yeah, of persons from a earlier march.
And they just remove it and no explanation given.
No explanation. But I wouldn't get into that. But that's the type of stand that you take. Separate, draw the line between politics and the workers of the nation.
Well, I hope the workers will draw the line. Because all of those crab walkers supposed to be workers, aren't they? Well, then they should not be walking the crab walk tomorrow.
But they have a right. They have a right to support their party and their status as a union member.
I'm not knocking their right to support their party, but I always use the analogy of St. Barnabas Church and BDC.
Yeah,
they don't go to church on Sunday talking about BDC. They don't go to BTC on Monday morning talking about St. Barnabas Church. How come they don't get mixed up like that? How come a day for workers, not for a political party? So why are they allowing themselves to be used by a political party talking about they doing the crab walk? What kind of crap is that? Mrs. Wilson is saying they will be there in color.
Yes,
well,
they
I'm
will
gonna
be
see
out.
just
They
how
will be
that
out.
will turn out and see whether those persons who are members of unions are doing the crab walk
Right.
on Friday. I can
Well,
be right there to see.
Well,
I
my
make sure I see it
my
for
closing
myself.
2 cents.
Yeah.
I just hope to see a brighter day for the workers of the Bahamas. You're working very hard, and we have to leave it there.
But the only way we're going to see a brighter day for the
Mhm.
workers of this country if they learn sense and stop getting mixed up with politics on Labor Day. Labor Day is for the workers of this country. Just like you go to St. Barnabas Church on Sunday, you go to BTC on Monday, and you've been doing that for years. You
Right.
ain't get mixed up yet. So how come when it comes to Labor Day, all of a sudden you're talking about you doing the crab walk? Give me a break, man. What kind of nonsense is that? But anyhow, we'll see what happens on Friday.
Yeah.
This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson. Thank you, those new callers who called in. We appreciate that. And do not forget those who are aspirants for elections. Global Radio is ready to receive your support and your backing. You got things to say to these people. People are looking for solutions. They're looking for answers. Now is the time for you to step forward. If you have something to offer the Bahamian people, you can call the radio station 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Leave your name and number with the producer, or you can call me directly through National Affairs 325-8652, 325-8652, or send me an email. The State of the Nation 242@gmail.com. The State of the Nation 242@gmail.com. This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views